What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flagrant Talk Sports Podcast. The gang's all here. Moses and Zay, we're back. Had a couple solos last week for y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed those. If you haven't seen them, check them out. Zay did his thing. I had a pretty solid video on the MLB, I think. But let's jump on into this one. Today, we're going to be piggybacking off of Zay's solo on the Eastern Conference questions for teams. Today, we're doing Western Conference questions for teams. Zay, what you got?
Yeah, so for those of you who didn't see my solo video, shameless plug, go check it out. I did the Eastern Conference, but today it's going to be Mo and I. And so we are going to ask one question for every single Western Conference team. It can be about anything. We have not collaborated on any of them, so they will be probably separate. We may have the same question for some teams. But yeah, we're going to start this off by division, starting with the Northwest Division. And the first team we will talk about is the Denver Nuggets. Mo, what is a question you have for the defending champions?
Yeah, man. As we know, defending champs coming for the throne again, trying to go back to back. My question for the Denver Nuggets is, can their bench keep it up? Their bench was a lot of people's main worry about them this year, losing Bruce Brown. But Reggie Jackson has been cooking off their bench. Peyton Watson, second-year player out of UCLA, has looked great for them. And Christian Brown, big part of their run last year, has continued it this year. So they got three solid guys right there that's been cooking off their bench. I just want to see if they can keep it up. We got a small sample size, but that's my big question, because we know what their starting five can do.
Yes.
There's no questions or worries really there in any regard. Offensively, defensively, they're solid. So, yeah, man, can their bench keep it up?
Yeah. As for me, very, very similar. I said, who will replace Bruce Brown and Jeff Green?
Yep.
So Bruce Brown, we know, you already touched on it, pivotal in their run to a chip. He's playing very well in Indiana too, which is great. His impact, having a bigger role with the team is great. But he was so essential to like the nucleus of that team in the postseason that I have zero doubts about the lineups in Denver, and I think I may still say that they're the best team in basketball, even with how good the Celtics have looked.
Yep.
And the Bucks, besides that one really fluky Dame game.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried, but yeah, who are going to be those other guys? Peyton Watson is a guy they talked about in the offseason. Is Julian Strawther going to be able to get some minutes and be a knockdown shooter, give him some scoring punch off the bench? Yeah, I have no doubts that they are a top 3 team in ball, but who are going to step up on that playoff run that they will inevitably be back on this year?
For sure.
Yeah. The next team I have is, it's got one of Mo's favorite players on it, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Mo, what do you have? What's your question for that young Thunder team?
So they've come out looking great, man. 3-1 through their 4 games. Shea's doing his thing. Giddey's doing his thing. Chet's doing his thing.
Yeah.
My question is, can J-Dub, Jalen Williams keep up the level that he's playing at? He's been their second leading scorer so far behind Shea. Yeah. He's been clamping on defense. He's got a long frame. He's built for defense. That's kind of what he came up in. I remember watching him here playing Boise State when he was at Santa Clara.
Yeah.
He balled out, but offensively, he's taken a huge jump, averaging 16 so far through 4. I just want to see. I was expecting, maybe Giddey or Lou Dort to be one of their 2 scorers, but J-Dub, Jalen Williams has been killing it for them. So if he could keep that up, that's another huge added piece to their already young, talented squad. So
totally. Yeah. I mean, as you said, they're one of the most fun teams to watch this year.
Yeah.
The question I have is, what is their ceiling?
Yep.
Because it was talked about a lot this offseason where a lot of people, a lot of talking heads were like, this is the team to take a big leap.
Yeah.
Like the Western Conference is really good, but if there's a team that's going to go from like play in to like a 4 or 5 seed, the Thunder were the team in either conference that was being discussed. So I'm just curious about how good they can be because they're a lot of fun. And to start the season, they look really solid. Mo and I were watching the game recaps and everything like that. And Chet had 4 threes, and like 3 of them were just trailer, pull up, dump off, bam.
Butter. Yeah. Don't think about it. Knock down. Yeah.
Nope. Just dump it off to him like it's a lateral and let him shoot it. So this Thunder team is really good, but I'm curious, like, what is their ceiling? Is it 3 seed? Is it 4? Is it whatever?
Yeah.
Because we both had them in the playoffs, but what is that like? Okay, they can play at like a conference finals level or something like that.
For sure.
So yeah, that's what I'm curious about. As for the next team, I wonder if we have a similar one on this one. Okay. I have the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I don't think we do. My question is a little unique.
Okay.
I'm noticing not all my questions are going to be like this, but I guess it was just this division.
Yeah.
My question is Naz Reid blossoming into a star in front of our eyes? He has been killing it offensively, defensively. He's their second leading scorer behind Ant. Kind of surprising considering, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, not really offensive, but just getting boards and getting put back buckets, you would think would be averaging more than Naz Reid, but Naz Reid's been that number 2 guy for them. Yeah. They're going to need more offense from Cat, I believe, if they're going to want to continue to be successful. Sorry, let me pull. What are they at here? 1-2 start the year. So a little bit of a rocky start, but Naz Reid has blown me away to start the year. He was doing it last year a little bit when was it Rudy who went down and he started getting big minutes?
Yeah.
He showed a little bit of it last year, but he's kind of continued it over to this year. And I kind of want to see if he's going to make another jump this year. And so far he has. So,
yeah, I think that's a great one. The one I have is, can Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert coexist? Because I think that, this Timberwolves team is so weird because for me, I had them when we did our playoffs video, I had them as I believe the 9 seed is what I projected them, which is okay. Like the West is loaded. But we know what Ant is going to do. He's blossoming into a superstar in front of our eyes. He is incredible. Like watching him play basketball is a blessing. He's so fun to watch.
We were watching him the other night and we were like, oh my God. It's like his size up. It was just filthy.
So good.
Yeah.
But if the Timberwolves are going to be serious, it's going to take Karl Anthony Towns, as you talked about. He's got to be a guy who can give them 24 a night.
For sure.
Who can be a consistent guy who can knock down the 3 ball. And for Rudy, just, offensively, they're not asking a lot, as no one has. Like, that's not what makes him valuable to a team. It's that defense and that rebounding ability and that putback ability. So if Cat and Rudy can't coexist, you're going to start to hear trade rumors and things may be a shakeup. There may be a shakeup in Minnesota. So that's my big, I think this team is good, but if they want to take that next level, those two have got to be able to work it out.
Yeah, no, they're real quick. They're 6th right now in opponent points per game, and then they are 26th in their points per game. So
it's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
Not going to cut it. You're giving up a lot of buckets.
Yeah, going to need to figure that one out. But
yeah, absolutely. It's I don't know. I like this Minnesota team in large part because of Ant, but like he can only take them so far.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna need those other guys to step up if they want to be like, legit in the West.
Yeah.
But the next team we'll talk about, the Portland Trailblazers. Been a tough start for Scoop, but it's a long season.
Long year.
It's a long season. The question that I have for them is who else is going to get traded? Because it's inevitable. It's going to happen, but whose name is going to get, tossed out there? I expect Jeremy Grant. I think he can be traded around January 15th. I think around the deadline, a contending team may be willing to take the massive contract in order to win.
Yeah.
Because Grant is a good player.
Great player.
But that money is tough. But
yeah,
come deadline time, if a team is like peaking or if they're, hot at the right time, they may strike while the iron is hot and go, okay, let's add Grant. Let's get even more serious. Anthony Simons is a piece that I don't think will get traded. I think he's pretty safe. But what is a Matisse Thybulle? What is, Malcolm Brogdon has been amazing.
Yeah.
For the Blazers. He has been so good. When we were talking last night, I think Brogdon has outscored in like a hilarious stat someone posted, like he has outscored the Celtics entire bench by like 31 points.
That's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like he's playing very well for Portland. So a contending team is going to see like, oh, he's healthy. He's back. He's a great defender. He's a great bucket getter. He's never going to do too much. So that's another name that I expect to be dealt. So what are the extra moves that come from this Dame thing is kind of what I'm wondering. What have you got?
My question is kind of trying to light a fire under a certain player that I have some interest in on their team, but it could apply to a couple players on their team. It's who is going to step up with Anthony Simons out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. He injured his thumb, had successful surgery, but obviously this team isn't expected to do much. They're not expected to be a playoff team, but still a great time for these young guys like Scoot, maybe Thybulle. Brogdon's probably going to step up or be a starter for a bit, with these guys with Anthony Simons out. So I need Scoot to figure it out now with one less guard in the rotation.
Yeah, I totally agree because it's the NBA or not the NBA. Fans are so reactionary in terms of like, oh, this rookie, this 19-year-old who is playing pro ball against the best players on the planet
for the first time
is struggling. Yeah, is struggling. Yeah. That is expected. Like most rookies do not come in and go, yeah, like, wow, they're on fire. That's why when they do, it's talked about so much. So it's like, it's 3 games. Let's let Scoot figure it out. We know the talent's there. It's okay. That applies to every rookie. Every rookie. So yeah, I agree with you. I think Simons being out, who's gonna spark that either on offense or defense. So I like that one.
Thank you.
The last one for the Northwest Division, the Utah Jazz. An interesting team. Mo, what have you got? What's your question for them?
My question for the Utah Jazz is, what direction is this team going? They have some solid pieces, They got Colin Sexton, they got Jordan Clarkson, they got Lauri Markkanen. They have some guys. They're 1-3 to start the year. Neither of us had them in the playoffs, but where are they? They're in this. We always talk about this position of you're kind of in winless basketball. Like if you're winning, you're not really going anywhere. If you're losing, you're getting better draft pick, but you guys are losing. No one's happy. I just don't really know what this Jazz team season is going to look like, especially after last year coming out hot, leading the West for a while. So that's my main question is what are
Yeah.
they going to do? Can, I don't know, their rookies step up, Taylor Hendricks, do some things for them? That's what I got for the Jazz. They're in a weird spot.
Yeah. I agree with you. The one that I have is, can a guard separate themselves? Because they have talent, as you said, Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson. They drafted Keontae George. Like, they have some pieces, but is there a guard who's going to come in and be like, hey, they are the alpha? They are the main guard. They're the guard who teams are scouting against, because we know what Walker Kessler can do.
Yep.
Similar vein to a Rudy Gobert. We know Lauri Markkanen is a great scorer. He's really developed his game. John Collins coming in. We saw him hit a couple 3 balls too, which he really worked on late in his time in Atlanta, which makes him a little more valuable.
Yep.
But who of those guards is going to be like the guy is kind of what I'm curious about as the season unfolds, if any.
Yeah.
It might be a thing where none of them do and they look to, improve it. But yeah, I'm very curious to see if any of them can separate themselves this season.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the Northwest. We now go to the good old Pacific Division, and we will talk about a team who just made a massive trade, Halloween. The Clippers. I have a fit. We probably have similar ones.
Yep.
Mo, what have you got?
My question for the Los Angeles Clippers is, will James Harden get them over the hump, or will he drag them into the mud?
Wow.
3rd team in under 3 years. That's normally not team problem. That's a player problem that doesn't really happen too often, especially a superstar of James Harden's caliber.
Yeah.
Multiple teams have tried to trade for Harden and thought it was going to work out and thought he was going to be that guy to help get them to the finals and maybe win a ring. And it, for whatever reason, hasn't worked out. So Clippers pulled the trigger, made what I thought was a great deal. Didn't really give up too many solid. Like, I thought Terrence Mann was for sure going to be gone.
Me too.
And a deal for that, but he wasn't, which is a huge dub for them. So let's see what they can do with this roster and with the pieces that they were able to keep. They gave up some depth, which obviously they were going to have to give up something, but could have been a lot worse of a deal for the Clippers.
Absolutely. You articulated it better than mine. I will save the my thoughts on the trade because we'll talk about that in a separate video.
Yep.
I do like it for the Clippers, though. The question I literally have is James Harden. That's it.
James. Yeah.
Like, I don't even have like a creative thing. It's Paul George is balling to start the year. He is playing so well, both sides of the ball. He's scoring the rock super well. He's like been the best player on the Clippers to start the season. Kawhi staying healthy. He's played, knock on wood, but he's played on every game so far. Obviously, Terrence Mann. Russell Westbrook is bought into his role. Zubac is exactly what they need at the center slot. They still have good depth with Norman Powell and adding PJ Tucker. So can James Harden just ball? Just ball. Like, no drama, no headlines, no nothing. Can he be a good complementary piece to the Clippers? Because I really like the fit, but it's the extracurricular stuff that worries me 100%. With that team. 100%. So both of us got Harden, and for good reason.
Yeah.
The next team, though, is the Sacramento Kings. A team we both like, a team that we're both, just rooting for. It's great to see them, play well. The question I have to start the year is, can Keegan Murray step up? Because I know what Sabonis can do. I know what De'Aaron Fox can do. I know what a Malik Monk can do. I
Mm-hmm.
know what Harrison Barnes can do. Those guys, I just know. I
Yep.
know how they play.
Yep.
But if Keegan Murray can take another step in his game, all of a sudden, the Kings, I think, are in a more serious tier because they're a very good team as is. But if Keegan Murray elevates his game and can be like that third star, that might be a really dangerous team in Sacramento.
Yeah.
So
and Mike Brown's been pushing for it. I
I
don't know.
love it.
You saw the other day,
Yes.
brought up a guy after Keegan refused to shoot,
Yep.
and Keegan shot the next possession, and he
Yep.
sent the guy right back to the vet.
Yep.
It was just like a little scare tactic.
Yes, it's that. He also I saw a video yesterday of him screaming at Malik Monk.
Yep. In
Yeah.
practice. Yeah.
Yes. Just being like, fucking listen to me. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm go do it. Like, go. But that's great because a coach should be able to yell at his best players.
Yeah.
I'm not saying be like rude or disrespectful, but he needs to be able to like light a fire under them the same way you do the 10th man on a team. And like,
100%.
hey, listen, like, nah, if Sabonis is messing up a drill, he's an all-star. But he still needs to be like, hey, listen, man, like if we're gonna win, you have to be a leader.
Yep.
So I love Mike Brown. Totally off topic. One of my favorite coaches, though.
For sure.
But yeah, no, I like that Kings team. I'm rooting for them.
Yep.
Even though I had them much lower, I think, than you. Yep. I think 7 is what I had. But that's still a playoff team.
It's the West, man. The West
it's the West. And that was before Memphis with Steven Adams, and we'll talk about them later. So I would move them up to 6 now.
Yeah.
So that's a little more respectable.
For sure.
The next team I have is the Phoenix Suns.
Yep.
Mo, what have you got for the Suns?
Phoenix. Oh, sorry. My question for the Phoenix Suns is, how will they look at full strength? We haven't seen it yet because Beal's been dealing with back issues. Booker got a little foot injury.
Mm-hmm.
KD's been the only star that has played in all their games.
Yep.
So we still haven't seen this Phoenix Suns roster at full strength.
No.
They've been winning games. They've been losing some close games, but
yeah,
I just want to see how the Phoenix Suns are going to look as the Phoenix Suns. That's my question.
Totally fair. Mine is who is going to be their fourth player? Like who's going to be the guy outside the big three to blossom?
Yep.
But I think to your point, your question is better because I still don't know what the Suns team is.
Yeah.
I've seen all of their games, but it's like you're missing. It's like if you're reading a book, but multiple chapters are missing.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I like certain things, but
yeah,
I can't read the whole thing.
Big holes right here. Yeah.
Like I'm missing multiple chapters.
Yeah.
It's how it feels to watch the Suns because you're like, man, Durant is really like having to like carry a lot of the offensive load.
Yeah.
But that's because Booker isn't playing in this game, and we still haven't seen Beal, and I don't know when we will see Beal.
I know. Why was this not like talked about until like opening night? Like I feel like I didn't hear a word about Beal being injured or anything until opening night or opening day when I got a tweet saying he wasn't going to play. I was like,
yes, totally. So it's so weird because at full strength on paper, the Suns should be dangerous.
Yeah.
But we still have yet to see them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a weird team to gauge at this point in the season.
No, I like your question though. It's a valid one. Like they're gonna need who is gonna be that fourth guy?
Yeah.
Is Nurkic gonna be a double threat again? Who's it gonna? Is Eric Gordon gonna be a six man off the bench? He's been hooping a little bit, but that's with these guys out. So we
exactly
don't know.
Yeah. So this is with the assumption that they're 100% healthy. Who is that fourth guy? Who's a guy who can kind of like alleviate the load offensively or defensively for the Suns? But I'm so excited to see them, the big three play, that it sucks waiting and being like, man, they would be so fun.
Yeah.
On paper. But The next team, though, the LA Lakers. An interesting team to start the year, obviously, with like the LeBron minutes restriction thing that's kind of been all over the place, whatever. The question I have for them is, can Anthony Davis lead the team?
Yeah.
As of now, to start the year, no. But again, it's a long season, and it's just weird. That Denver game, he came out, he was aggressive, he was blocking shots, he was getting dunks, and I was like, great. This is exactly what you want to see. 17 points at the half, Lakers on a run.
Mm-hmm.
Donut in the second half.
Goose egg. Yeah.
That cannot happen.
Mm-hmm.
That cannot happen ever, because D'Lo balled out against the Magic, and that was great. He put up 28, and if he can do that from game to game, every once in a while, kind of like carry the load, that'll go a long way. But if the Lakers want to be contenders, like in the finals, conference finals again, AD is going to have to play at an All-NBA first team level.
Yep.
So that's my big one for the Lakers. What have you got?
My question for the Lakers is, as you noted, D'Lo has looked great.
Mm-hmm.
But what is going on with Gabe Vincent? He is shooting 7.1% from 3, 1 for 14, averaging 6 points with playing about 26, 28 minutes a game. That is just not – that can't happen. Obviously, they got other guys. They got LeBron. They got D'Lo. They got whoever. Mm-hmm. But they signed him in the offseason, expecting for him to come in, make an impact like he was with the Heat. Maybe not like it was with the Heat, because that was just unreal. Insane. And the Heat always kind of do that with their guys. They just kind of blossom, especially in the right times. But they're going to need Gabe Vincent to figure it out if this team is going to be as high as people think they can go.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. It's been so weird. And again, it's a long season.
Yeah.
That they need him come playoff time more than now. But it is alarming where it's like you have like a role now and like teams prep for you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the difference with the Heat. He was really able to blossom because it's like he was a rotational guy in the regular season, but he wasn't a guy where playoff teams were like, we got to stop Gabe Vincent.
Yeah.
Where now teams at least know, like, this is an assignment. You need to prep for him.
Got to be cautious. Yeah.
Yes. Like, he can hit the 3 ball. He's a guy who can, give him a spark. Let's not allow that spark.
Yep.
But, yeah, that's a very fair one. The last team in the Pacific Division, the Golden State Warriors. Mo, what have you got for the Warriors?
So I could be jumping the gun a little bit. This could be a little bit of a stretch for my question. But my question is, should we be worried about Andrew Wiggins? He's shooting 18% from 3 through 4 games. He's not the best 3-point shooter in the world, but that's not good. Yeah. He has had some pretty bad offensive turnovers, and he's getting outscored by at least one, if not multiple guys on their bench every game so far this year. Yeah. So, obviously it's small sample size, could be jumping the gun, but you're going to need Wiggins to be that kind of third guy behind Steph and Clay, I think.
Yeah.
Steph can't drop 40 every night. Well, he can in certain stretches. But you're going to need help outside of that. He can't do it all by himself. So that's my question. A little bit of a stretch, but just what I've picked up so far to start the year.
Yeah, totally fair. Mine is simply pause on this, but do they have enough size?
Yeah.
I don't think they have a 7-footer on their team. And
nah. I'm looking. No, they don't.
Yeah. No. There's no one. And, Golden State they made the small ball lineup like popular them, and obviously the Houston Rockets back running PJ Tucker at center.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen a team like this where Kevon Looney and Dario Saric are like they're bigs,
Yeah.
like centers, like not just forwards, but like bigs. Is that going to be a problem when they go against teams like Denver in the playoffs or a team like the Lakers with AD if AD is playing very well? Like,
Yeah.
it just concerns me. But I mean, the Curry still has an argument for, the second best player in basketball.
Yep.
He is incredible.
I don't know when it's gonna end.
No.
I'm like thinking there's gonna be a year where he comes out, he just lost touch a little bit, not moving as quick, it has not happened.
No.
And I don't really see it happening for another good few years.
No.
Yeah.
He's incredible. Like he really is, hasn't played as long as LeBron, obviously, but should be a player who is respected in that same way of like he is playing at an all NBA level still.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No denying the talent on the Warriors, but there are definitely some like concerns, which isn't normal.
Yeah.
The final division in the West, though, that we have to talk about is the Southwest. Starting off with the New Orleans Pelicans. Mo, what have you got for the Pels?
My question for the New Orleans Pelicans is who is going to be that guy off the bench? They got a good starting group, Zion, CJ, Jonas Valanciunas. They've been switching between Herb Jones, Jordan Hawkins, but I think, as we've talked about, Jordan Hawkins should be the steal of the draft. He's been shooting very well. He's shooting 40% from the field, I think 40% from three. The point average isn't there, but it's kind of hard, man. You're a rookie trying to get your shots up, trying to get your name out there. You got some good shooters and some solidified guys on this team. Brandon Ingram, another guy I forgot to mention, but
yeah,
they just need, I think, not a six man. Just who's going to be that solid sixth piece off the bench? Come in, help them out. Yeah. Need some depth.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that. The one that I have is, can the Pelicans hit their stride? And I am a Pels believer. I am a Zion believer. I like all those things I fall under the category of. But can we see them remain healthy and play at a high level with Ingram on the court, with Zion on the court, with CJ on the court, like Herb Jones, Valanciunas, like all of those guys? Can they stay healthy and can they stay playing at an all-star level? Like, I think the Pels at their peak are a really, really dangerous team. They don't have like a true point guard, at least in their starting lineup with CJ, but they do have a lot of talent. So, yeah, do they have the ability to hit their stride and maintain it over the course of the year instead of like, damn, that 5-game stretch was perfect. They were amazing. And then they lose 3 in a row.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. And then Zion misses 5 games. And you're like, all right, well, this is the cycle. This is where it is. Can they stay consistent for like months at a time? Is my big one for the Pels.
I like it. It.
The next one, I kind of wonder if we have a similar one for this, but the Dallas Mavericks. What do you have for the Mavs?
I have a feeling it's fairly similar, but my question is, what will they do to improve their defense? They are currently first in points per game as a team, leading the NBA. I think I actually probably tied with the Kings, I believe.
Yeah.
And they are 23rd in opponent points per game. That we've kind of talked about this. We've been beating the same drum. They don't really have any interior defenders. We talked about Derek Lively, young guy, but we think it's going to take a little bit. I thought he was going to make a pretty big impact. He's done solid so far.
Totally.
And again, offensively, don't really have any worries with Luka and Kyrie and then some shooters alongside them. But defense, man. There's two parts of the game. So gotta figure out that side of the ball. I don't know if it's gonna be a trade. Oh no. I feel like it would have to be. I don't think that can just kind of come up out of nowhere unless there's a big kumbaya moment for the team. But I think they're going to have to make a move. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that entails. I don't know if they want to, but they're 3-0 to start the year. So they're just outscoring teams so far.
Yep. Yeah. I have, do they have enough outside of Luka and Kyrie? Because Luka has been incredible to start the year, like peak level Luka.
Yeah.
So we know what he can do. I know what Kyrie can do. There's no doubt there. There was never a doubt, even when they traded, in terms of on the court, how good they can be.
Yeah.
But Tim Hardaway has started the year really well. What was the game we saw together where he was hitting like insane?
Yeah. We just watched it the other night.
Yeah. Well, whatever it was a game recently where Tim Hardaway was making in like highly contested fading threes, like contested middies, like drives at the rack, like just balling, which is
either the Brooklyn or Memphis game. I don't remember.
Memphis. Yeah. Memphis. That's the one. So if you want to see Tim Hardaway go stupid,
holistic,
like that's the one. He was hitting shots where you're like, yeah, that's a bad take. And it goes in.
Fuck it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're like, all right. But do they have like the guys outside of that? Can Grant Williams be a factor? Can Derek Lively come along and, develop himself over the course of this season? Can Josh Green, who's a guy I've talked about a lot this offseason, but can he take I do absolutely. Can he take a step and be a key factor? Can Dwight Powell remain consistent? Like, I think they will probably make a deal at some point this season. I don't know for who. I don't know for what position, but I'm just curious if outside Luka and Kyrie, if they can remain solid.
Yeah.
So,
stay afloat.
Yeah. The next one, the San Antonio Spurs. I've got a pretty basic one. How good can Wembanyama really be in his rookie season?
Yep.
That's it. Because there's no expectation of winning. Like, that's not, they've played well to start the year for the Spurs. But what we have seen, there are flashes of just greatness, like dribbling the ball up the court as the point guard and then hitting a pull-up three as a 7'4" center. Unguardable.
Insane. Yeah.
You can't stop that without fouling. So we know how good he can be, but can he be an all-star? Like, when was I don't think we've had a rookie all-star since Tim Duncan. It's something.
Derek?
I don't even think Derek was.
Dang, bro.
It's been a long time,
okay.
but can Wembanyama do it? It is at least an intriguing thing. I don't think he does because he's in the West.
Yeah,
but it's certainly possible. This Spurs team has been a ton of fun to watch, but I am really curious, like, how good Wembanyama can really be as the season unfolds. What have you got, Mo?
My question for the San Antonio Spurs also has to do with Victor Wembanyama, but it's how can they improve their defense outside of Victor? Victor's averaging 2.3 blocks a game. He's averaging a steal and a half, covering insane ranges on D, chase downs, blocking posters. Like he's been doing it all so far to start the year. They are still 29th in opponent points per game. So Victor can't do it all. Yeah. Can Greg rally the troops, get the guards, get the forwards bought in? Can we lock teams up? Because they don't really have too many offensive options over there. So I think defense is kind of going to need to be their identity. And again, they're not really in a position to win or expected to win right now. So how can they improve their defense for maybe future years when they have a shot at winning with hopefully Victor still on their team?
Yeah. I like that one as well. The next team in the Southwest I have is the Memphis Grizzlies.
Man, oh man.
I simply they're still winless as of recording. The question I have is, are too many things in their way? And what I mean by that, Ja Morant out 25 games. And the big one is the loss of Steven Adams for the year.
Huge, bro. It screwed them over largely last year. Like, I don't think they're going to do that much, but they would have done a lot better. Yeah.
He's one of those pieces on a team who, all this attention is on Ja Morant for good reason. Desmond Bane, Marcus Smart, Jaren Jackson. But Steven Adams, in a lot of ways, is the soul of that team. The spirit of the team. He's such a great leader, great rebounder, great defender. He's able to score at the rim. He's just everything the Grizzlies need at center. And it's one of those things where, the loss of that, when we talked about it a little bit, it might be the dagger.
Yeah.
In terms of playoffs. You're 0-4 and Ja's still out 21 more games. And you're in the West. It's just starting. It's only 4 games in, but the feeling is there of a lot is going to have to go your way in order to work this out.
It's getting to scary hours for sure.
Yeah. And the one last one, Brandon Clark is rehabbing from an ACL. So that's there's another rotational player who will come back this year, but he won't be back in the basketball groove for at least a little while.
For sure.
So I'm just wondering if too many things are in their way for them to be solid.
I like it. I like it. My question is it's similar. It's, can they flip the script before Ja's return? 0-4 to start the year. I was it feels like they're not playing bad.
They're not
close-ish games.
Yeah.
But they haven't found the winning formula yet. They haven't found ways to win those games. And their team stats are just kind of in the middle to bottom of the pack in all of them. So I don't really know what they need to do because the injuries suck, the suspensions suck, but they gotta change something and figure out how to just at least stay afloat before Ja comes back and maybe things change a little bit. But Steven Adams being out, Brandon Clark being out, it's challenging. It's gonna be a challenging year for them for sure.
Totally. Yeah, and that's, I'm really glad you brought that up because they have not been a bad team. It's not like they're losing by 20 every game and everything is, playing against them. It's simply especially those first 2 games, I was impressed with the team. They lost both of them, but I was like, that's okay. But 0-4, your record is your record. They get credit because they're not getting spanked. It's not like they're being embarrassing, but 0-4 is 0-4, and you still have 21 more games. If you go and Ja Morant comes back and you're 7-18 in the West,
might be over, man.
It's probably done. I think you at least to even be able to recover 10-15, 11-14 is at least what you have to shoot for without Ja. And that's, you're already 4 losses deep. So they've got to pick it up, and that sucks because they're already in a hole they have to dig out of.
For sure.
Yeah. The final team, though, in the Western Conference, in the Southwest, the Houston Rockets. What have you got for the Rockets, Mo?
What do they do? 29th in points per game as a team, 27th in 3-point percentage as a team, 30th in rebounds per game as a team, 20th in assists, 21st in opponent points per game. Nothing really going right.
Yep.
I don't know if no one was really expecting for it to go that right. Like, they obviously made a lot of moves in the offseason, getting Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet and Jeff Green, and they added guys, but it has just been bad. It just hasn't been good.
No.
Again, no one really was expecting good, but what do they do? I don't know what they do.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, up to this point, Sengun has looked like their best player, and like, he is a very good player. Don't get it twisted. Like, I'm
No
not
hate.
trying to talk. Yeah,
No hate.
Zero hate. He's a very good player.
Yeah,
but you expect Jalen Green to be that at this point.
Second overall pick for a reason.
This is year 3. It's time.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things. You added those vets, you did all that, but it's time for Green to take the reins if he's going to. And while Sengun has been amazing, that should not be the case.
Yeah.
He should not be. Teams should not scout the Rockets and go, Sengun is their best piece. So that I like you bringing that up.
Yeah.
The one I have is, how much of a difference between this year and last year do the veterans and a coaching change make?
Yeah.
Because they were not good last year, and adding, Fred VanVleet is a good player. Dylan Brooks is a good piece, especially on the defensive end. Jeff Green is a vet's vet, amazing locker room guy, won a chip last season. And Imi, obviously, is the head coach, trying to establish a culture, like a serious one there. But, like, what is the difference in wins with that? Because those are great, but, like, they're still not, like, a contending team or anything like that. I don't even know if they're a playoff team.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the question mark that I have with the Rockets.
For sure. Weird spot.
Yeah. But that's every team in the West. Question for every team. Let us know your questions for teams. If you disagree with one of ours, if whatever, feel free to comment it.
Yeah.
Sidebar, if you stuck along this late in the video, we're approaching 100 subs. So thank you.
Thank y'all so much. Yeah.
And we're curious, like, we have an idea for a video. Mo brought it up to me, and I think it would be hilarious.
Yeah.
But we are more than, we don't have to do it now. We can save it. So if you guys have any, feel free to let us know, DM us, comment under the video, whatever.
We'll probably post about it too on socials at some point. So
100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've got any, please let us know. But we know what time it is. It's been a while, but don't think we forgot.
Never, ever.
Don't think we forgot. Song of the pod. Mo, give the people something to listen to.
It is now November at the time of this recording. It's been a great year so far. Let me kick off your first November weekend with a heater. 5 Unna by Homicide Gang, featuring R5 Homicide. The beat is just, oh my gosh. It's just, I've just been banging this song, gym, walking, waking up, going to bed. Just a heater. Go give it a listen. Not really a musical person song, but if you're just trying to get right, turn up, go listen.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it. I've got, as you said about November, I have November by Tyler, the Creator.
Yep.
It's that time of year.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to get right.
Beautiful.
It's one of my favorite Tyler songs.
I'm about to listen
Love
to
it.
that. Right. Yeah. When we're done. Yeah.
Yes. It's so good. All the things that, loves about the season and things like that. So blast it. Thanksgiving coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I got a song.
Okay. Yep. Okay. Well, we're gonna have the same song next pod because I know we just okay. So stay tuned.
Yep.
Next pod for Song of the Pod. But thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you for showing love, and we will see y'all in the next video.
See you soon, everyone. Thanks again.
Peace.